Today I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about the advantages of dual polarity antennas in high density environments. We are a Texas-based company, so no presentation would be complete without some reference to cattle in some form or fashion. So in Texas terms, 3 cows do not equal a high density application. This, on the other hand, is a high density application, multiple clients, that type of thing. So on the left-hand side, you'll see non-HDA placement for general coverage in many applications, carpeted office space, those types of things. On the right-hand side, it's more of a high-density deployment, tighter beam widths, tighter patterns, those types of things for auditoriums or arenas or any sort of high-density location. So your design plan will help you select the appropriate antenna solution for what you need. Still a high number of applications are omni-driven, but more and more applications are being driven by high-density deployment, more client devices on the network. So some common installation architectures for HD. There's some of the more common ways are catwalk or ceiling, where you can actually utilize a patch design, which gives you, typically they're higher gain antennas, which equals smaller beam widths, more AP density and smaller cells. Higher ceilings typically require higher gain, not all the time, not necessarily 100% of the time either. There are wall and pole mount options. The nice thing about patch antennas is most of you know RF is like herding cats. So you really wanted to capture that, or at least steer that RF signal to your clients. So some benefits of having that using patch antennas are you do have articulating mounts that come with them more often than not. I know all of ours do. So you can actually, not only do you have the beam width characteristics of the actual antenna, but you can actually focus that beam width more so with the degree markings on the articulating mount. Another high density deployment would be sort of an underseat or an auditorium. You might see this in large public venues, stadiums, those types of things. Usually using low gain omnis, using people in the surrounding environment for as an RF shield or barriers, if you will. Does require some enclosures to protect the APs, that type of thing. So, patch antennas offer a variety of options for successful, as I mentioned earlier, articulating mounts for different degree markings, mounts to different surfaces, wall, pole, those types of things. Variety of gain and beam width options are a vital aspect in choosing the right antenna for your deployments. But wait, there's more to that. My mom, that's my high school talent show contest. My mom sent that to me. Patch antennas also offer dual polarity. And so what does dual polarity mean? I was actually going to break into a little break dance, but a high percentage of patch antennas are vertically polarized. And so if you whip out, the antenna element, traditionally antenna elements are vertically polarized on the bottom. Once you dual pole, you either have multiple elements of 2, 3 that actually just shift or rotate, if you will, the element to a horizontal factor. So you're going to have, think of a snake slithering across the ground as sort of the horizontal sine wave, and then the vertical sine wave is more of an up and down like a serpent. So as you can see, here's the actual, if you can't see the antenna itself, you can see it on the screen. There's 2 vertical on the bottom and 2 horizontal at the top. On the back of the antenna, you'll also have the 4 connections, which in most cases should be labeled H or V, so identify whether it's horizontally or vertically polarized. So the advantages of that in a dual polarity antenna in a high density environment, the dual polarity reduces the amount of signal collision going out to the field. Reduced signal collisions allow the radio to send and receive data faster and more efficiently to the actual client itself. The main takeaway from that is dual polarity doesn't change anything on the actual radiation pattern itself. The coverage area just simply modifies the way the signal, the sine wave, is traveling to the client device.
Does that mean you have to have symmetric patterns, or can you get dual polarity with asymmetric patterns?
They have to be somewhat symmetric. Is that, well, I'm going to leave that to my technical expert. That's a $20 question. So if you're looking at the actual selecting the right antenna, the horizontal plane itself, if you look down at the pattern from above, it's the actual width of the pattern that you see. So if you're on a spec sheet and you look at the H plane of the antenna, you're looking down at the width of it, as you can see here. Now the V plane is going to be a profile view of the actual signal itself, and it's going to be the actual height of the said pattern. So where do radiation patterns come from? Not from there. Certainly Santa Claus isn't bringing them to us, and Amazon Prime can't even deliver radiation patterns. What radiation patterns come from the Exceltex antenna torture chamber. I occasionally put my boss Carter Burke in there just for kicks and giggles, to have some fun with him, tee him up a little bit. When you actually test an antenna, you take each individual element by itself and test it in the actual chamber. You cannot take this whole antenna conglomerate and all 4 radiation elements and put it in a chamber to test it. You have to test each one to verify the actual pattern that you're going to see. And I'll show you on the next slide what that looks like on the spec sheet. So if you notice, we incorporate 4 different beam patterns, if you will, on our spec sheet, which indicate each one of the 4 elements that you see on the actual antenna. So you'll see that there's 4 different colors. There's a green, red, blue, and orange. Those are all going to be the different elements. Sometimes a manufacturer will just put a blended version of what that radiation pattern looks like. It's somewhat accurate, but you get a little bit more a better indication of what those patterns look like when you have all 4 shown. This also shows that it would be 40 degrees, and somehow if you read that, what you're going to see is that wherever this crosses or wherever the pattern itself, these 4 patterns cross the 3 dB line, it's going to be, this is a 30 degrees obviously, and this is 30 degrees as well. It's about 20 degrees on each side, so it's about 40 degrees. It's a 40 degree beam with pattern. That's how you read a radiation pattern, but that's probably a 10 talk for some other time. And finally, this year again, last year we had some challenges giving away actual antennas. We had some challenges with security at the airports. You can ask UC about that. I'm sure he talked quite a bit about it. You may have seen it on Twitter. There's an antenna coupon in the back of the giveaway bag. There's a little slot on the bag shoved down there with the Eka House stuff. Holler at me, let me know which antenna, which make and model of AP that you're going to be using, and we'll be able to send you out an antenna of your selection if you want. If you have questions, concerns, as long as they're non-technical, you can feel free to reach out to me. I only charge $20 per question. Rich is a little bit more expensive resource, so he's charging $50 per question. We do take checks and money orders. But there's our contact information, and if you guys have any other questions about anything or you want to take it offline, give me a shout, let me know, and we'll be around all week.